You're listening to the Weekend Sports Buzz with Tyler Bloyd, Kelly Patrick. Tell us your thoughts on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Welcome to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Myself, Kelly Patrick, Tyler Bloyd in the studio with us today. As always, on Sunday, here to talk to you about some all sports in the Kentuckiana area. A lot to talk about.
A lot.
Not so exciting about Kentucky football, but we got Louisville football won. You like the intro, Tyler?
I really had nothing to say to that. Just laugh.
We also got a little taste of some Louisville basketball yesterday, which is very nice.
Good. A whole weekend of basketball here around the Commonwealth.
Yeah, exactly.
Western, Murray, Moorhead, they're all getting that hysteria. But yeah, obviously the two big dogs, Kentucky and Louisville. Big Boat Madness Friday, and you were in attendance of the U of L red-white scrimmage yesterday. So we're definitely gonna talk about that. We have some good guests lined up for everybody today. Of course, always 11 o'clock. Kelly, our favorite guy. Farrell Elliott himself, taking a few minutes talking fantasy football. Mm-hmm. We're also bringing on, Dave Spelker. He usually comes on Saturdays. He's going to call in today. We had a full boat yesterday. At 10:20, Dave talking high school sports from Vite Magazine, and at 10:40, a guy that I know you're excited to come on.
Very much.
Maybe not what we wanted to talk to him about. Mo Egger, Cincinnati Reds radio. We were hoping to be talking about, hey, we're going into series today, Kelly. It's round 2 of the playoffs. Obviously, that's not going down.
I know Mo is a very versatile.
He is
radio personality, and he covers also the Bengals. So we'll be able to talk about how the Bengals are going to beat up on the Browns today. We're going to be able to talk a little bit about maybe
that really
this one year contract extension or 1 year contract for Dusty.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I was listening to you and the handsome Jimmy baby over on Friday afternoon. I heard you all hosting. It was a great show.
Thank you.
A lot of good Reds talk. I enjoyed the Reds talk, and obviously you all had it was an all red show for you two. I will say that, which is fine because me and the Mace Man that Friday morning it was a kind of all blue show, so it worked out. We
like to mix it up here at 1450.
We do.
Your only locally owned sports radio station in the city of Louisville.
Always brought to you by livingforless.org here on the Weekend Sports Buzz, and smart shoppers get on livingforless.org. Check them out. The golf year is coming to an end. I'll be out there tomorrow. There's some good 50% off deals, especially this time of year. They want you out there, so they're hooking you up. Good if you're going out, taking the wife out to dinner, the girlfriend. Get on there. Get yourself a little 50% coupon because everybody knows it's nothing better than going on a date and pulling out a 50% off coupon. Right?
Oh, my God.
The girl's super impressed.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
She's just looking at you. God, he's a money saver already?
My wife would be impressed.
You tell your mom that, and you're in. This kid's a money saver.
I think that the fact that we are the only locally owned sports radio station in the city is maybe underestimated a lot of time by our listeners and maybe even the people within the station. We are not kind of in the pocket of any program as many of the sports radio stations around here are. Mm-hmm. If Tyler comes on and he thinks, Stephen Vantrease sucks,
which I do,
he can talk about it. And he can go on and on about how he thinks Louisville has 8 good players, but that nobody beyond that on the basketball team is any good. Is that?
Which I do.
Okay. So, we don't have to worry about answering to maybe a big corporation. We have Dugan Ryan, the greatest owner in the city.
The greatest owner in the city.
That we have to answer to, and that's all. We are not in the pocket of anybody. We don't have a big corporation from Connecticut or from anywhere telling us we can do this, we can't do that. And I love it. I think it's good. I'm a Louisville fan. You're a Kentucky fan.
Let's get into that.
Sure.
Let's start with your football cards. You got your Louisville football helmet on right now, your T-shirt. You're excited. 6-0, Kelly. You came out yesterday early kickoff against Pittsburgh, 11 o'clock. Sloppy start. Not what we would call sloppy. I'd call it a very fast start for both teams. No defense, because they weren't awake, in my opinion. I think that first half they were still just getting out there. And the crowd was dull. Pittsburgh fans were hungover from their Midnight Madness the night before. Louisville came out second half and showed that they're just a way better team than Pittsburgh.
I guess you got to say that's what happened. I know that I was very impressed with a couple plays. Teddy Bridgewater had another, you could say almost flawless game. He was 17-26 for 304 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. quarterback rating, if you even read anything into that, 176.3. But I was very impressed with Teddy and his escapability. You know, he scrambled a little bit outside of the pocket, got outside the hash marks, would throw the ball out of bounds when necessary. He doesn't mind doing that. He does what's necessary to win. I think he's a great game manager. And I'm basically evaluating us from an offensive perspective right now. But we had Sonoris Perry had a great game. Only 12 carries, 101 yards, and 4 touchdowns for Sonoris Perry. 4
touchdowns. So he had 3 in the opening game against Kentucky, if I'm correct. He tied Brock Bolin's record in a game for last so many years.
Huh.
So 4, might be the new record for you coming from the Kentucky fan, Kelly. How'd you look at those stats?
That's impressive.
Coming from the Cat fan.
We got somebody on the line with us, none other than the legendary Handsome Jimmy. How you doing, Handsome?
Hey, Kel. How y'all doing, buddy?
Doing great.
Doing great.
Hey, my man, Kel. Yesterday, awesome seeing him back on the floor, but Kel, you had to be impressed with number 21, Shane Buchanan. Was he a man against boys?
He was. He seemed to get, they were taking that serious. And he got, early in the game, I felt he was maybe a little threatened by Montrell Harrell. And then
he played outstanding too now. Go ahead.
He did, but I saw a couple plays where Shane just like a Charles Barkley or something, just came out of nowhere and just crammed on people.
And I got to tell you what, because I got your text where you were sitting, but while I was sitting, I was sitting right where the players come out. Where they come out at.
Yeah.
And then when Shane threw down them 1 ducks, it was right in front of me. I thought, my God, I got to tell you something, man. I know it's just the first red, white, but you can just see it. You can just see how much he's improved, and the rest of the team. I thought Ware looked good yesterday, and all the starters. Wayne might not have played the best because I didn't think Wayne shot the ball good, but all the starters, Kel, how do you think they all look, buddy? Who impressed you, Shane?
Out of the starters, I gotta say, Gorky was didn't go out of his way to do anything. He didn't push to do anything that was kind of beyond himself, which is what he does so well. I wasn't unimpressed with Gorky at all. I got to agree with you. I wasn't overly impressed with Wayne. He had a couple nice plays. I described it to Tyler. Wayne can take a fast break and turn it into an easy layup. He's got that strength.
Yeah.
But I wasn't overly impressed with Wayne as a whole. I was impressed with Kevin Ware.
Kel, was it because Wayne didn't shoot the ball well?
That had a lot to do with it.
Right.
I didn't see him creating much, I don't think.
No, good point.
Hanson,
what do you think, Hanson?
Hanson, let me ask you, what do you think about the new guy, Luke Hancock? Were you impressed with him at all?
I was. It seems like now, it seems like to me too that he has to. Seems like he's kind of got like a little set shot or something. Kel, did you see that too? Or is it just me looking like that? I thought just an old type school player and plays hard and he went down yesterday and Kelly probably thought the same thing. I thought, man, he just knocked his shoulder back up.
There it goes. He was embracing his shoulder when my dad and I were saying, "Oh my God, Hancock re-injured his shoulder." Went into the locker room. I was like, "Are we ever going to see him again?"
That is the truth. But Luke's going to be a steady player. There's no question, and just going to play his role. But I think he's a leader, man. I really think he's going to be a leader. I like what Coach Patino said, and I heard the story. But if y'all fans is listening, ain't heard it, they said last year when he got here, they had a weight training session at 6:30 in the morning, and he was there, and 2 guys come in late. And he just looked at him and say, hey, man, we started at 6:30. Be here at 20 after. You know what I mean? And they didn't say, hey, you just got here. What's wrong with you? You don't tell me what they listened, and they was never late again. So I like that leadership, don't you, Kel?
Yeah, I think Kelly, he stepped off the mic for a second. He was asking you, Kelly, about, leadership.
Yeah, of Luke Hancock. I agree.
Luke.
I agree with you. He reminds me of a good version of a YMCA old school player. A good version. That's not.
I think he's a little bit better YMCA, Kel.
No, I'm not taking a shot at him.
I know you're not.
He seems like he's been playing basketball his whole life, and I actually I've heard some people say, he's kind of like a coach on the floor, kind of like maybe David Padgett. I can see some of that. I was impressed by Luke Hancock overall.
Hey, I got to tell you, and I'm like Coach. I mean, them shots that Peyton took. A lot of them just looks like they was just gonna knock the bottom out of it. And it was long. Most of them was a little long, but
Yeah.
Peyton, to me, you could just see the leadership out there. Played outstanding, didn't he, Gal?
Yeah, Peyton showed the athleticism he always has, and I love how serious he was taking the game. He had a couple maybe questionable drives to the basket.
Right.
But overall, yeah, Peyton's, you know what we're going to get from Peyton.
Yeah, and you hit on the freshman that Shane was playing against Harold. I'll tell you right now, but he played his rear end off too. And I got to tell you something. You see down that block, he's a man against boys too. And if he's the 77th best high school player in the country, there's no way in the world there's 76 better than him, is there, Kelly?
No, you said that to me on Friday, and I try to always, give instead of just nodding and go along with it. You said that to me on Friday, and I was thinking, I don't really know. Is he 77th? It's hard for me to tell. But after seeing him on Saturday, Handsome, I don't know, how many big guys can be better than that. I mean, he looks like he's maybe an NBA-ready player.
No question, and he runs the floor outstanding. And let me just tell everybody, Friday I got to work with Kelly, and it was outstanding. I bucked Trav to death. I couldn't help it, and but Kelly, was an honor to work with you, buddy. I'm looking forward to doing it again. And Trav, what about the Reds, buddy? Our Reds struggle. Reds, they should be playing today and tonight, and that's what me and Kelly was talking about Friday. The best team don't always win.
Yeah. I'm not happy about it.
I know you're not.
We're talking to Mo Egger today. Actually, Handsome, he's up in Cincinnati. We're going to be talking about round 2 starting tonight, but obviously we're not. It's just hard, taking it in. I'm hearing Dusty. I'm hearing Dusty's going to be coming back for a year. I was listening to you all Friday, so I'll like that.
Yeah, Trav, and I got to tell you something. There was a young lady called and broke it on our show because we didn't hear it and nobody else had it, and it said that he was back for one more year. How you feel about that?
I like it. I'm a Dusty fan. I don't really think if you fire him, who are you going to go hire? That's my next question. There's really not. And Ozzie Guillen, maybe no. I'm not an Ozzie fan, so no.
I wouldn't with him at all.
I think me and you are both on the same page. If we want him to stick around, because look, 97 wins, 98 wins, pretty impressive.
Second best record in all baseball, Trav.
Yeah, it's crazy, but Handsome,
and Trav, he had some unfortunate. Joey Votto was not Joey Votto. Yeah, did he get on base? He got on base because he's Joey Votto. He's a great player. That's why he got on base. He had no pop. That knee ain't fully healthy for us. The pop. Well, he wouldn't even slide. He would head first slide. And so that tells you when he went right there. And then you get your ace.
Oh.
Should be the Cy Young winner. He throws 8 pitches. So our rotation's already screwed up. And I got to tell you something. What could you do? We up 2-0. Trav, are you upset? We couldn't get one game, but Dusty's back was against the wall. Do you agree to that?
Yeah, it was, as soon as they lost that, game 3, I knew the pressure's been all switched to the Reds. And I don't know. Maybe it's Great American Ballpark. They're 0-6 now in Great American Ballpark, 0-5 in, the playoffs. I don't know, Handsome. It's crazy. I guess we'll ask Mo a little bit when get the professional Cincinnati standpoint from him. He's going to come on here in about 10, 15 minutes. So I don't know, Handsome. I'm just looking forward to next season. It's going to be a long one again.
I am, too. Hey, Trevor, because me and Kelly was talking about this Friday. Kelly asked me, he said, Handsome, would you bring, Chapman in, and maybe put the big fella back here in the bullpen when we got him from Kansas City. But let me ask you. There's just no way you could have did that. Dan, I think he's got. Chapman's got to be a closer. If he stays like he is, he could be the best closer for the whole time. Eventually, if he stays healthy in the way he had this year, ask your guess. Could Chapman maybe be a starter next year? Do you think they would make that? Trev, what do you think?
I know in the preseason
to be a starter.
I know in the preseason, if I'm right, Kelly, he was actually going through spring training as a starter, which it'd be cool. But who we have in the starting rotation, it's pretty fine. Maybe look into it, because we do have Ryan Madsen coming back. He was going to be the closer until he got hurt.
Question.
which caused Aroldis to get put in that role. If Aroldis is at the closing position, I'm okay. If he's in the starting role, I'm very happy as well. Either one I'm cool with, but I am disappointed that he only pitched about 12 pitches in that game 3. He could have came out for at least 2, even 3 innings the way he was pitching, considering it's the playoffs. Aroldis is going to be fine to throw 2 or 3. I didn't like that call. Obviously, Broxton gave up the run that allowed them to win that game 3, so that's what irked me about it. I don't know. Handsome, we're up against this break. I appreciate the call, my man.
Hey, Trav, you and Kel got a great show, buddy. And Kel, I'll be giving you a call, but I need to talk to you about something, all right?
Talk to you soon, Handsome. Thank you so much.
Later, baby.
Yeah, appreciate Handsome. I love Handsome. You know, you had to enjoy doing that show with him on Friday.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I know Adam's in there, telling us to get to break, which is fine because Dave Spelker will be calling us any moment. Vipe Magazine, so stick with us. We're going to talk a little high school sports. This is your Weekend Sports Buzz.
This is the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
We're back here at the Weekend Sports Buzz. Myself, Tyler Boyd, Kelly Patrick here every Sunday, 10 to noon. And, of course, don't forget following us, Kelly. Some of our favorite guys now, those weekend golf guys, John Ashton and the crew getting it done. I'll be out with him tomorrow, Kelly, at the Persimmon Ridge Golf Course for a big charity golf scramble. We're going to get it done. I'm excited about that. So stick around, 12 to 2, those weekend golf guys. Leading into that, though, a guy that I'm sure has hit the links a few times in his day. Vipe Magazine, now a big sponsor here with, obviously 1450, and of course our website, KentuckySports.co. Kelly, we're glad to be a part of Vipe. As it is, Dave Spelker is on the line. Dave, good morning.
Good Sunday morning to you guys. How are you?
We're doing good. Talking to you on a Sunday today. We had some issues, a full boat yesterday, but no problem because we're getting Dave in here every weekend. If I'm correct, Dave, are you calling in Mason and Myers in the week now?
On Tuesdays, yes. Yeah, I talk to those guys on Tuesdays and get to spend a little time with you guys on the weekend, so life is very good.
Yeah, that is good. I like it. We're glad, all of us here at 1450 are glad to be having Vipe. And if you don't know what Vipe Magazine is, you need to get out to your local Kroger, Dick's Sporting Goods, mom and pop shots all around the Kentucky, Southern Indiana area. If your kid, your kid's in middle school, high school, they have the magazines right there. Have them bring them home. A lot of great stories in there. It wraps up, each month around the state here, what's going on. Volleyball, soccer, football. It's not just focusing on the major sports. It does it all. Bowling, bass fishing, my new favorite high school sport. I wish I was still in high school just for that. But it's Vipe Magazine. It's great. Dave, I'm checking out the website here. It's ihigh.com/Vipe Louisville. It's updated. Got a lot of good information on here. You got obviously the Fred Allen Meyer individual golf state champion article, Sacred Heart Academy team repeats KHSA state champion. A little bit about Vipe.
Yes.
How is Vipe going right now?
It's going very well, and it just seemed like a few weeks ago we were talking about fall sports starting up. Now we're coming to the point where it's tournament time, playoff time for all these sports, and it's going to be a big week because we've got regional playoffs in volleyball and soccer and field hockey. You talked a little bit about golf there. Last week, man, it was Heartbreak Hotel for the St. X golf team. They had a huge lead going into the second day of that state tournament, and somehow they didn't play that poorly, but West Jessamine just played very, very well and caught them. And I really thought St. X was going to get that crown this year.
Yeah,
but,
we've been talking about that over the last few weekends. St. X, how dominant they have been on the golf course. Top 2-3 guys just continually to run it. But like you said, he's just the guy came out of Lexington.
Yep. Don't know what happened there, but still a great season by those guys. And I know two of them, Cooper Musselman, Stephen Stallings, have committed to University of Kentucky to play golf. So there's a lot of good rounds still left in their future for sure.
Yeah, it really is. Obviously, we had high school football going on Friday night, a little bit Thursday night as well. Trinity, another win, another week, another win. I guess that's just expected now. They did beat Mail, so and then South Oldham, another top team around the region. Here they took out Scott County. St. X, your alma mater, beat up on Emmanuel, a little district game there. So a lot of good games around the region. Not many upsets.
Yeah.
Ballard Fern Creek, probably the game of the week, 13-12.
Yeah, how about that? Was a tight one. And I tell you, the game of the week I thought was PRP putting the hurt on Butler. That really surprised me. You know, everybody, including myself, had been a little critical of maybe PRP not playing a tough schedule. Well, Butler's a quality opponent, and you know, they won that one fairly handily. I think it was like 40-27, and PRP obviously has an offense to be reckoned with. So they're going to be making a little bit of noise come playoff time here.
They are.
You mentioned the Trinity game. Did you see the pink uniforms?
I did not. Tell me about this.
Well, Trinity was one of 10 teams selected across the U.S. by Adidas to sport these, you know, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So they had pink jerseys to go along with their white pants, and it's not something you see very often on a football field. You know, because I got a kick out of hearing the announcer saying, you know, that's going to be a holding on the pink, and you don't hear that every day when it comes to football. But that was pretty cool. I'm sure the kids got a kick out of that, and if you can get on Facebook or see if you can't see one of those pictures. Actually, I'll try to get some posted up on the VIPE website.
Okay.
So folks can take a look at that.
Yeah, do that. Again, that's ihigh.com/VIPE Louisville. It's a good little website. I'm checking it out right now. It's you know, like I said, it's up to date. You know, like you said, those pink jerseys. If I'm correct, a lot of the you know, the girls' sports, you know, in various schools, they will occasionally do some, you know, the Breast Awareness Month games. I've seen that when I was in Oldham County. They actually did something like that with a volleyball or softball team. So. But you don't see that much on the gridiron, so I like that. You know, you got to get it involved for the men. You know, we're supporting it too.
Well, you know, you've seen the gloves and maybe some of the Under Armour, but now these were the full-scale jerseys. So who knows what's next?
Yeah, for real.
You mentioned St. X too. That was Coach Glazer's last regular season home game.
Wow.
As you know, he'll be retiring after this year, and I know that was I'm sure it was a big night for the Glazer family, and you know, I'm sure he doesn't want this season to end. That's going to be tough for him. But
that is 40.
Last home game.
Well, how long's he been there?
31 years.
31. That's a stint. You know how
and
high school coaches are.
And that's just his head coach.
Yeah.
He was there as assistant for years before that. So, you know, I mean, he's dedicated his life to that school in certainly a lot more ways than just coaching the football team. But it's certainly an end of an era.
And he'll still be involved with the program, I believe.
He will, yes. I mean, if Will Wolford, who's coming in as the new head coach, is smart, he'll still keep him close by for advice. You know, obviously the St. X faithful have looked for maybe a little modernization of the offense over the years. That's, you know, the big criticism. But, you know, in the scheme of things, the football record and what plays have been called over the past 31 years is really not what's made a difference at St. X with Coach Glazer. He's affected thousands of young men and, you know, pointing them in the right direction for life. So we certainly wish him well. I don't know how much of a retirement it will be for him, but we wish him well.
Yeah, that is good. Again, Dave, it's ihigh.com/VIPE Louisville. I'm scrolling through a little bit more and getting familiar, and I see that you can actually, I mean, if you can't find the magazine right around your neighborhood, you can get on the site and look at the magazine. I'm scrolling through every page right now. That's pretty. I like this little ability.
Actually, what the cover for the issue that's out right now, I have to take a little credit for that. That was kind of a weird idea of mine that turned out, I think, really nice. I got some of the best high school field hockey defenders in town, and we got them over at the J-Town Veterans Memorial Park and took some pictures around some of the military vehicles on display over there. And that I think it turned out pretty cool, actually. The girls really had a good time. You know, we had some serious pictures and some funny pictures, and they were just great, and I hope they all had a good time, and I know VIPE enjoyed the photo shoot.
Yeah, me and Kelly are looking at it right here. It's a good photo, sitting right up there on that tank, and you know the title right there, VIPE Magazine, Administrators of Defense. So they all seemed, you know, that was a pretty cool picture there. Dave, is this the October or November issue?
That's the October issue that you're looking at right there.
Okay. When does the
November? I'll be coming up soon.
That's what I was thinking.
Our basketball preview.
Mm-hmm.
I think basketball preview is going to be December because I know we want to cover some soccer, and there's just so much to cover. I mean, I wish we could put out 3 issues a month, you know. But still, anybody out there that's got a young man, young lady that's, a relative or a student of yours or a neighbor, and they have a cool story, please let us know about it. We'd love to get them in the magazine. Love to hear their story, and that's what we're all about.
It really is. I'm a big fan of Vipe. I actually picked up the issue. We met a while ago and got this going, and you gave us some, but I've picked up the most recent ones as well. I enjoyed it. I think I need to talk to you off air a little bit, Dave. We got a little bit something, a good story you might want. My man John Hancock is, we had a guy just recently commit to Louisville, Kelly, about Bafford. Michael Bafford, local kid. John did a great story on him. You might be interested on something like that because I know Vipe is big on stuff like that.
Please. I most definitely would like to talk to you about that.
That would be good.
So,
well, I'll give you a call later today, Dave. I know we're coming up against this second break here.
Sure.
But as always,
well, have a good week.
Yeah,
like I say, next week at this time, we'll have a lot of fall sports to talk about.
Exactly.
And I know the Indiana playoffs are starting. It's a fun time of year.
Exactly. So tune in. Dave will be talking to Mason and Myers in the morning, Tuesday morning. So tune in then.
Have a good one, guys.
You too, Dave. Kelly, high school sports, we're 1450. We love it here at 1450. Nobody else does it. I know we're not in high school, but that's where they come from to go to Louisville. That's where they come from to go to Kentucky.
Yeah, Louisville and the southern Indiana area is a great community, and they really embrace their high school sports.
Yes, they do.
And it's nothing better than a good high school athletic event.
Yeah, it really is. So I appreciate Dave and Vipe Magazine. Kelly, I think we got a few minutes left here. We can extend this one out a little bit. We have coming up next Moeger. So, leading in him, the Reds, just a little bit more. We're not going to get too into depth because I know it was last week. We're kind of moving on to playoffs started. I guess we can mention that Yankees, they did lose last night to the Detroit Tigers, and they didn't just lose. They lost out on something big.
Derek Jeter broke his ankle.
That's not good.
That's not good to break your ankle,
the captain,
especially when he's how old is he? 36.
He's up there. He's
37?
having one of the best seasons he's had too.
Yeah,
he's hitting the ball well. He's fielding the ball, just as good. Then he comes out to captain. Mr. Yankee. I'm sure they're freaking out up there.
Yeah, I'm sure Truth isn't happy about that.
That's right. It's
tough for me to really get into following. Just being honest. What's going on in the playoffs when every time I tune in or I check something out online, it just reminds me of the expectations and the failed expectations of the Reds this season.
I just wanted to throw this out there, just totally off topic. I just noticed that you were wearing some very old school Nike throwbacks.
Yeah.
Very classic.
Yeah.
I'm actually very impressed with what you're wearing. I don't know exactly what they are.
They're just some Nike basketball shoes.
Maybe some Scottie Pippens, maybe.
I don't know what they are.
I don't know, but they're awesome. But yeah, the Reds, next season, Kelly, everybody knows we had a great season this year. The playoffs ended. They should not have ended. Next year, Hanson brought it up. Is Chapman a starter, or is he going to stick to that bullpen?
I'd like to see them try him in as a starter role if that is something that's, kind of an option. I don't know the ins and outs of – I'm not the pitching coach. I'm not Brian Price. I mean, I'd like to know – what goes into that, but me as a fan, admittedly a casual fan, or maybe a little more than a casual fan.
We're a little bit more casual.
More than casual? Well, I'd like to see him pitch the maximum amount of innings possible next year. I like to try to minimize the amount of runs the other team scores. Call me radical, call me what you will. I like to see our best pitchers pitch a lot of innings.
He's our best. I like what you said. You were talking to your father over after the season ended. And, you all figured out our best pitcher threw 2 innings in his 5-game series.
That didn't help us.
He could have easily pitched the inning that Broxton came in and gave up that run. He threw, 10 pitches, 11 pitches, and got out of that inning? Tell me a guy can't throw another inning.
Yeah, it's hard to really be critical of Dusty because that's how they've won all year, and they went without Votto, and I think they're 17 games above 500 without Votto. So your ace goes down. I don't expect Dusty. The more time that goes by after this loss, I don't expect Dusty to scrap the whole game plan. That's irrational. But going forward, I'd like to see Aroldis maybe pitch a few more. I mean,
a couple.
He's our best pitcher, arguably, right?
Dusty needs to realize that their $54 million they purchased just to get him over here isn't going to use very well when you only throw him in 2 innings in a 5-game playoffs. You know who I'm going to give the MVP to in that series? Bruce Bochy.
Yeah.
Tell me why he would not get it. He pitched matchup for matchup, pitcher for pitcher, perfectly.
I almost would say Tim Lincecum. because he came in and just shut us down.
He was.
He had a subpar season, but he came in and he
That's
shut
baseball.
us down.
That's baseball.
That is.
All you have to do is come out and perform for 1 week straight, and you're back. You're back to being liked again. You're back to being the old shot Timmy Jim, big shot Timmy Jim. I don't know.
Before we get to a break, this segment is brought to you by Franklin Taxes and Accounting services residents and business owners nationwide. We offer financial planning, tax preparation services, estate planning, LLC, and corporation setup. In forensic auditing, we can help any corporation or small business with payroll, monthly financials, bookkeeping, and much more. We're located in southern Indiana at 611 Watt Street in Jeffersonville. Contact our friendly and dedicated CPA, Marcy Franklin, who has over 15 years of experience at 502-424-1179, or check out our website, franklintaxes.com, for further information. We are committed to providing expert advice and meeting every client's individual needs. We want to thank the friendly folks at the Franklin Taxes and Accounting for helping us, through the KFFSC.
I wonder how they're doing in the KFFSC.
I'm sure they're doing good. They're very experienced. It's good to see a couple ladies doing well, and they do.
Not just doing well. I'm pretty sure Marcy won her division last year. She is no joke.
Yeah, when our man Farrell builds them up and tells us about their extended Marcy, right?
Marcy Franklin.
Yeah, how she's done in the past. She's good. She knows what she's doing with fantasy.
Farrell is on the line of an and one hype man. He's that good.
But it's accurate. I mean,
it is.
He talks somebody up, and you can take it to the bank that they know what they're doing.
384-1450, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line. Get in here, give us a shout, let us know. The second hour is going to be dedicated basically to Kentucky, Louisville. We're going to the first hour, a lot of guests we're talking to, but second hour we're going a lot of local talk. So get in there, shoot us a text on the Lotus Gunworks text line 414-1450. We will be right back with Mo Egger from Cincinnati Radio.
It's alright. Said it's alright. Easy for you to say. Yours never be broken.
It's the Weekend Sports Buzz. Call in on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
We're back here, 1450 AM, the Weekend Sports Buzz. Check us out on 1450thesportsbuzz.com. You can check the live streaming out right there online. Because we are here in the Kentucky, southern Indiana area, so get on there, check it out, it's good stuff. On the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line, a guy we like to bring on. We brought him on about a month ago, but, talking about the Reds heading into the playoffs, so we're going to talk about the season. Mo Egger of ESPN 1530 Cincinnati. Mo, good Sunday to you.
How's everything?
It could be better. Me and Kelly, obviously, we're big Reds fans. Could be better, but it's not bad. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm doing well.
Good.
I wish we had a National League Championship Series to get ready for tonight.
Exactly what I was going to, we were bringing Mo on. We were thinking we're going to get to talk. We're up 2-0. Let's set this up. We'll get to talk about heading into the, round two. And then, history sets 3-0 losses at Great American Ballpark. I know you're right there in Cincinnati. You're the heart of everything. You get all the callers. What were all the reactions like after the series ended?
You got one of three things. You either got, overreaction guy, the guy who decides, he's never going to go to a Reds game again. You got excuse making, pointing to the Cueto injury.
Yes.
Or you got, more than anything, and there's always a need for a scapegoat. You got the guy who just wants to point the finger at somebody. And I've said for the last 3 days, if you want to point the finger, get a team photo and just point it there because, I know everybody's trying to have this fall at the feet of the manager or one player or one situation, but this was really a team-wide failure. This was a systematic breakdown, and, it just, unfortunately, everybody stopped getting hits in big situations.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty made some very questionable moves.
Mm-hmm.
They had some fielding mistakes. Obviously, the Roland error on Tuesday night loomed large, and the Cozart error on Thursday really kind of prevented them from minimizing the damage. And Latos, unfortunately, was probably left in a little bit too long on Thursday. I mean, there were so many things across these three games that you could point to that I hate to boil it down to just one.
Yeah, it is. It's not one or two like you're saying. And I agree. It's the team. You look at that team picture, and that's who you point the finger to. It's not just one guy. I know down here in Louisville, we've had some talk about Dusty a little bit, and like you said, the overreacting fan, fire Dusty, fire blah blah blah. I'm totally against that. I know if I'm correct, we had a caller from up in your area saying they're looking at possible a 1-year extension. Is that right?
Yeah, the prevailing sentiment seems to be that they're not going to go maybe beyond 2 years, which is what they did last time. They extended him 2 years in 2010. I think this is going to be a weekend of assessment for Dusty Baker. Obviously he's got his health to consider. There have been thoughts, even before the issue in Chicago when he had the irregular heartbeat and the mini stroke, that maybe with his family on the West Coast, and let's face it, maybe in a city where he's never been universally embraced, and with some other opportunities potentially being out there, that he might decide to go do something else. I ultimately think he's going to come back. I think it's going to be a relatively short-term extension, and I think that's going to be something that's agreeable to both. I don't know that Dusty wants a 4 or 5 year deal, especially at the salary he's making. I don't think the Reds are really going to want to commit to a 4 or 5 year deal for the guy. So I think he's going to come back, but I would be really surprised to see the deal go beyond 2 seasons.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. He has some little health issues, maybe. Even though I'm not too familiar with what's going on with that, so I'm glad he is going to get re-signed. I'm a Dusty Baker fan. Look, 90, almost 100 wins. You can't really fault him. Yeah, a couple questionable calls, a bad steal here or there, but it was in the past. I wanted to ask you about the closer. Obviously, Aroldis Chapman. He pitched 2 innings maybe in the 5-game series, being one of the best pitchers, if not the best on the team. Ryan Madson obviously went down before the season started. Will they re-sign Madson? And if they do, would you think Aroldis will be a possible starter next year? Because I know spring training this season he was in that role.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're obviously going to be able to get Ryan Madson on the cheap. I mean, they're not going to pick up the $11 million option, because why would you? But yeah. I think he'll be here, and I think they'll get him, relatively inexpensive. I don't know that you can make him the closer on opening day, though. I mean, we've seen here, it takes a while for guys to come back from Tommy John surgery. I am a proponent of Aroldis Chapman staying as closer because I know he's a dominant closer. I don't know if he's a great starter. Yeah. And, if they're going to make him a starting pitcher, then they're going to have to probably have him begin the season in Louisville. And, next year's philosophy is the same as this year's. Win now. And which means the importance of the games, even early in the season, are magnified. I want Aroldis Chapman available all 162. I don't want him available for 20 making a start. This team's starting rotation is one of its strengths. Its bullpen is one of its strengths. I don't interrupt either. Now, I think they could use some more starting pitching depth, and I think, if they didn't grandfather in a spot for Mike Leake, that would be okay. But I'm a fan of knowns. I'm not a big fan of unknowns, and I take away from a big known quantity to maybe get a guy who can start. I don't know if I'm a big fan of doing that. We're 3 years into this. I mean, Aroldis Chapman is now pitched in the Reds organization for 3 years. He hasn't yet made a start, yet he's become one of the best relief pitchers in baseball. I just think we're at the point where why? I mean, if things were different, if they had huge glaring holes in their starting rotation, if they were sort of starting all over again as an organization, I'd be okay with it. But I'm not a big fan of disrupting something that they have that's really, really good now for trying something that might be okay. It would be like if Todd Frazier emerged as a Gold Glove third baseman, and then they randomly decided to move him to left field. I think if you have things that are known factors on a team that still has a bunch of unknown quantities, don't disrupt it.
That brings me to my next question, Mo. Do you see Todd Frazier as the future at third base for the Reds?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's legitimate questions about if he has sort of hit his ceiling. I mean, he's going to be 27 next year. He was never really regarded as one of the organization's top prospects. I don't think they view him as a 35 homer guy. I don't think they view him as a really high on base percentage guy. But could you hit him sixth in the order and be very happy with the defense at third base? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, can he anchor that position for the next 4 or 5 years? Sure. I think sometimes we get caught up in, boy, a guy's got to be a superstar. Well, no, that's not how it works. You need some solid players, and you need some guys who can man a position for 150 games. And, ever since Scott Rowland showed up in Cincinnati, for all his contributions on a day-to-day basis, you didn't know if he was going to be available. And I think they go into 2013 feeling pretty confident that Todd Frazier can be the guy at third base. You could use him at other positions if need be. I think they feel confident that there's not going to be a very significant drop-off defensively. You could probably pencil him in for 20, 22, 23 homers. He's probably going to hit around 270, 280. And if he's our sixth-place hitter, that's pretty good. I think they can almost pencil that in from Todd next year.
The Reds certainly have bigger issues to deal with, I would think. I mean, it seems at times there was a stagnant offense that really kind of hampered the ability for this team to do what we wanted it to. What do you think the main priority is during the offseason? Is it maybe to find a replacement for Drew Stubbs? Or, I mean, what do the Reds need to do?
Well, it becomes Drew Stubbs because this team needs a leadoff hitter. I said on the radio yesterday, if this team had a guy somewhere else in the order or somewhere else on the team who was getting on base 38 to 40% of the time, who could steal some bases, who could really help you create offense when you're not hitting homers, you could live with Drew Stubbs hitting eighth. I mean, you could, because he's so good defensively. He can hit the occasional long ball, but unfortunately, there's nobody else on this team who has that offensive skill set. And so if you're looking at areas where you get an offensive upgrade, it clearly becomes center field. And he's a high strikeout guy, an extraordinarily high strikeout guy. And each of his 4 seasons at the major league level, all of his numbers have gotten worse. So he's not getting any better. He's going to be 28 years old. I think you've got to look elsewhere. I think the tricky part for this organization is they believe Billy Hamilton is going to be the opening day center fielder and leadoff hitter in 2014. So you're not going to sign a guy long-term. You're not going to sign a Michael Bourne to a 3 or 4 year contract because you feel like Billy Hamilton's eventually going to be that guy. So where is somebody that you can bridge the gap with? Where is somebody that you could give a relatively cheaper 1 year deal to, that hopefully you don't get much of a defensive downgrade, but gives you somebody you could plug at the top of the order? I mean, we've been talking about on the radio for 3 years who should be the leadoff hitter, who should be hitting first. I don't know if we can do that for a fourth. And so I could see them, and I brought this possibility up the other day. The guy that terrorized him in center field in this series, Angel Pagan, San Francisco Giants. I think a guy that they can get on the relatively cheap. I think a guy they can sign a 1 year contract, a guy who's going to be pretty good defensively, a guy that can hit the ball out of the yard. Look, is he going to be, Michael Bourne or Denard Span? Probably not, but is he better than Drew Stubbs? Absolutely, and I also think he's a better option than Chris Heisey. But I think when they go into this offseason, they've got a list of things they've got to accomplish, and I got to think at the top of that list is find somebody else to lead off and find somebody else to play center field.
Yeah, I think that's right on to saying that, what me and Kelly were thinking too. I like your Angel Pagan choice there, because if I'm correct, they are possibly one of the front runners for Josh Hamilton free agency is what I was reading. So obviously, if Josh Hamilton gets there, they could possibly give up an Angel Pagan. So I do like that. Again, Mo Egger, 1530 ESPN in Cincinnati. Transition a little bit for the top of the hour here. The Bengals. You're obviously right there with the Bengals too. Every Wednesday, I get up there to the practices and get into there and do a player interviewing, and I'm getting to figure out that this locker room, and they really do enjoy being around each other. It's molded together and whatnot. What do you think about the Bengals? Coming into this week, it's a rivalry in state, the Battle of Ohio. They lost last week to a okay Dolphin team. What's going on with the Bengals? And Andrew Hawkins, he's emerging a lot, right?
Andrew Hawkins has emerged. They go into today badly needing to win. I mean, if you look at how difficult this schedule gets, I know Pittsburgh's having their problems right now, but if you look at what they have their final 10 games of the season, if they don't win today and they go into this final 10 at 3-3, I don't know where you find 7 wins. And maybe that doesn't Maybe it only takes 9 like it did last year, but I think we're going to feel pretty comfortable with if this team can win 10. I think if you win today and you're 4-2, you survived the first 6 despite the Miami loss and despite getting blitzed at Baltimore. But they've got to give themselves some cushion against the teams and the quarterbacks that are going to be coming here the next 3 weeks. I mean, you have Pittsburgh, who always seems to win at Paul Brown Stadium. The Giants come here, the Broncos come here. You still have to go to Dallas, or Dallas still comes here. You still have to go to San Diego. Carson Palmer's still going to come here for whatever that's worth. You still have a return trip to Pittsburgh, a return trip to Baltimore. If they're 3-3, I think it's going to be really, really difficult for them to find the right amount of wins. I think this is a better than average Bengals team. I just don't think it's taken the step forward that I think a lot of fans thought they would this season. And the Miami loss was certainly disappointing. I think they could have gone to that Pittsburgh game with a lot of momentum. But this game today scares me a little bit. Cleveland has been in almost every game, with the exception of the game at the Giants last week. They hadn't lost by fewer than 10. They played very well here a few weeks ago, week number 2. They played well at Baltimore. Their defense was great against Philadelphia. I think this is going to be a close game, and this sort of feels like that stretch in 2010 when they played the Panthers and the Buccaneers, and that really kind of changed their season. They need to win today to avoid their season sort of changing for the worse. This is a big game for this team.
I know the Browns have Joe Hayden returning today, which is actually pretty significant, being that the Bengals' offense did struggle last week. What do you think the key to the Bengals winning today is?
I think you have to start to find ways to get some production on the ground, which is going to be tougher to do without Bernard Scott. The idea coming into the season was that they would be a little bit more balanced, a little bit more consistent on the ground, and a little bit more secure with the football, which frankly hasn't happened with Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. I don't necessarily worry too much about Andy Dalton. I think, last week he just simply didn't play all that well. There were throws he didn't make. I also think if you look back to a week ago, Miami's defensive coordinator was here forever, and that was certainly a factor. Jay Gruden, the offensive coordinator, would even admit that. And I think defensively they just have to continue to improve. I mean, it's such a blanket statement. I think they've taken steps forward the last few weeks. They've gotten a little bit healthier in the secondary. Hall has come back. Terrence Newman. They have the luxury of a really good defensive line, and they can throw a lot of guys at you. They're really difficult. They have so many guys that it's almost impossible to block all of them. What they simply need is just decent coverage. Don't need great coverage, need decent coverage. If they get that downfield, they're going to be okay. If they run the football, I think they're going to be okay. But it just seemed like in the Miami game that a lot of those things, especially on offense, that had clicked for 3 weeks didn't happen. I think it's going to be interesting today to see if last week was an aberration or if it was the beginning of a trend.
Yeah, I think that's right. We're all excited for the game. We're Bengals and Browns fans right here at 1450. Mo Egger, 1530 ESPN in Cincinnati. Tune in, check him out. At also 700 WLW as well. Mo, appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your time today.
Anytime, guys. Thanks.
Mo Egger, glad to bring him on. I would have loved been talking, round 2 NLDS with him. Cincinnati Reds versus your Cardinals. The Cardinals of St. Louis.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. That was some good analysis though about the Reds going forward. The Reds as an organization have a lot to look forward to next year, and I think Mo did a great job of kind of focusing on what they need to do in the offseason. He was right with us as far as finding some kind of a replacement, a leadoff hitter. He said, that they expect Billy Hamilton to be the center fielder and leadoff hitter in 2014,
Interesting.
day one, which is very interesting.
Very interesting.
And I can't disagree with it. So
I can't disagree or I can't agree yet because really you haven't seen too much from the young kid besides that he's very, very fast. He can hit the ball. He can smack it out there. Might not be the best fielder today, but that's what time builds. Anyways, 384-1450, Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline. We're coming up to hour 2. Farrell Elliott will join us, and after we talk to Farrell, Kelly, we're going to break down your Card football win, talk a little bit about this scrimmage, and, maybe Kentucky-Arkansas rain out. This is your Weekend Sports Buzz.
Now back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Tell us your thoughts on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline at 384-1450.
Jam. Welcome to the Jam. Is that some Space Jam, Adam? Yes, I love it. That's the best intro in 6 months right there, no doubt. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz right here on 1450 AM, 1450thesportsbuzz.com. You can follow us. Get on Twitter, hit the little blue button, hit the little blue follow, 1450 to Sports Buzz. Good stuff on there. Getting into the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line. Of course, it's 11 o'clock Sunday morning, so what is better than that? The Big Freeze, Farrell Elliott, KFFSC.com commissioner. Good morning, sir.
Adam is a wild man. Those tunes, that got me going.
Yeah, early morning, I guess, rave music / Mario Techno. I'm a big fan of it. It was a combo.
Just got to wake everybody up.
You do, Adam. You do. I like it. I appreciate that. But
Success, buddy. I am ready to go. I want to play some football myself.
Of course, Farrell is the KFFSC.com Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship Commissioner, getting it going, 10 years strong. We're part of it in our first year, Kelly. Kelly, you're 2-3 this season.
Yes.
I am 3-2. Very happy with my success right now. Farrell, I listened to your show on Wednesday, and you had the overall point leader, number 1 in the whole league on. It's very interesting.
Leroy Carson.
Yes.
Leroy's played for a lot of years, and he knows what he's doing when it comes to fantasy football, and he's a lot of fun. Guys. Did you meet him at the draft? Did you meet Leroy?
I think I did meet with Leroy. I think we did meet Leroy. We didn't have him on, but we did meet him. He put up over 200 points in the big number, 200 points in a week. I was closing in on it. I had 185, but not 200. I mean, that's uncalled for?
200 is the proverbial perfect game of fantasy football. He not only did it once last week, guys, he did it twice. He has 2 teams. Actually has 3 teams in our main event, 2 of them over the 200-point barrier.
Wow,
last week.
Very impressive. Of course, my man Trevor Bacon-Kelsey, he's sitting pretty at 3-2. Brad Steen / Matt McCarthy, struggling.
Well, you guys have got to look past your head-to-head record because you're all playing around at 500.
Yep.
You've got to look at scoring those points because that's what our league's all about. We're going to award a prize for head-to-head in the division. But essentially, the way you want to advance in this league is to score points, and every week's a new opportunity to do that. So how are you guys going to get it done this week?
I'm going to get it done as I always get it done, and I'm hoping that was my waiver wire edition of Isaac Redmond on Thursday. He did put up a decent little performance. Not great, but my running back situation is sketchy right now with Kevin Smith done. I just basically have Shady McCoy. So I'm banking on my waiver wire abilities. What about you, Kelly?
I need a big game out of Peyton Manning on Monday night against San Diego. I think they don't have the greatest pass defense, so I got Demaryius Thomas. I'm hoping they hook up maybe once, twice, 3 times for touchdowns. Also, Steven Jackson, hoping he kind of bounces back and puts up some good points for me. DeMarco Murray hasn't done anything for me so far, Farrell. I don't know. I'm hoping for some big performance.
Your hopes will be rewarded on Monday night. Both Broncos, you can double dip with your Broncos because you're going to have a big night. Now, Steven Jackson is going the wrong way in that offense. Fisher is anxious to get these younger backs in. Not the one he drafted high, but the one that came to him as a surprise, Darrell Richardson. And in Baltimore, your Dallas Cowboys are coming off a bye week, one of the teams coming off a bye week this week, and they should look to run the ball, establish something with Murray. We're proving that the Ravens, even though they get their big defensive tackle back today, they've proven that they're not quite the significant defense in stopping the run that they have been over the last years. Jamal Charles had a successful game this past week. His backup, Sean Drawn, added another 40 yards in rushing. So you have reason to hope there with your DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, you mentioned Jamal Charles. Let's stick with him. He's hadn't been a very, very good season for most part. He's getting the ball, it seems to be 30 times a game every time I turn it on. He's in one of my other leagues, not this league. And also Dwayne Bowe. What are you thinking about these two guys heading into this week, maybe for the rest of the year?
I'm thinking these guys have a new quarterback at least this week, and if the new quarterback does what I expect him to do, he may continue to be the quarterback for the balance of the season. And Brady Quinn is one of those players that came in and was tested early, did not answer the call with the opportunities he was given, and now he has been waiting. He's been waiting patiently, somewhat of the forgotten man. But he's been in this system, and I've just been waiting for this opportunity to see what he can bring after stepping away as a starting quarterback for several seasons. As a player, he's still very much of what you would consider a young, developing quarterback, and I think we're going to see a different type of Brady Quinn under center moving forward in 2012. So it's a benefit to Dwayne Bowe. You know, Dwayne Bowe last week, 18 targets. 18 targets for Dwayne Bowe. You can continue to put Dwayne Bowe in your offense. He's the most targeted receiver, and he's going to catch a lot of those balls. You're going to move forward with him.
I actually traded him away in one of my other leagues, Farrell. I traded him for Trent Richardson.
Well, you know, that's a pretty good trade, especially it's a keeper league. You know, trading is anathema to high-stakes fantasy football. But, you know, we want you to continue to play in those basement leagues. That's what keeps you sharp, Tyler. It's kind of like going out playing your municipal golf course, and then you come on down and play Augusta National with us. So we don't want you to quit practice.
I'm not. That was a great comparison. It really was.
Yeah, Farrell dropping some big words on us this morning. You said trading is a.
You can't even get it. That's great.
What was that?
Oh, guys, come on. We've got to evaluate players, not lingo.
Not lingo, Kelly. Kelly's all about this. He's strictly business, Farrell.
I love Kelly. I love the energy he brings to fantasy football and this radio show.
Thank you very much.
Hey, but I can tell you guys what, I listened to your show this week, too, and we will not be talking about Artrell Hawkins moving into any fantasy lineup this week.
Hey, Farrell.
We can talk about Andrew. Andrew is a start against the woeful Cleveland Browns pass defense.
Farrell, give me a break. We were having Artrell Hawkins on the show that day, and he didn't. And I got mixed up with my names.
You were having.
Farrell's calling me out. Listen to this.
Man, Artrell Hawkins has the smoothest radio voice, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, he does.
He does. It's good stuff there. What do you think of? You mentioned, Farrell, that the Browns have a bad pass defense. They're having Joe Hayden return off of the suspension for he was using a stimulant. What do you think that'll do for the Browns secondary today?
Well, I think it will lock down Mr. Green and make Mr. Hawkins even a better target. Moving forward, as Hayden plays, the Browns' whole defense is going to change. He's that kind of ball player. So thank you for bringing that up, because, yes, they have been woeful. They will continue to be picked upon at certain positions, but he is truly a shutdown corner. He can't shut down the entire passing attack from a team, but he can shut down the top guy, and sometimes that's all you need. But that's what will bring the other players in that offense opportunities to put up fantasy points.
Farrell, one thing we wanted to mention was obviously we're getting in depth into the season. I mean, it's rolling by. We mentioned that last week, but a lot of teams are coming off some bye weeks. Detroit, Dallas, Oakland. Some guys off of these teams could have some big weeks, assuming they've had this practice time. Any guys that you're looking at?
Yeah, guys, let's stay inside, go down to Atlanta and talk about the Oakland Raiders. This is a team that has to get the ball in the hands of their running back. McFadden's only had 57 rushes this year.
Wow.
He's got to move up to about 25 rushes a game to really be effective. Atlanta has a very, very tough defense. So a number of these teams coming off the bye, that's a benefit for them to get their act together. But in Oakland's case, they have to travel across the country and play one of the most successful teams in the league. A tough chore for them. They need to respond by going to that rushing game and staying with it. They got a new coach out there. They got a new general manager, and you can say they have a new owner with Mark Davis in the owner's chair. Their new coach, he looks to me like he wants to tinker with every aspect of that offense. And what he's really got is a running back that could deliver this team a wild card berth if they would just start using it.
Farrell,
Coach, get the ball to McFadden.
Farrell, you said you just mentioned Atlanta and Oakland, how they're playing today. I wanted to ask you quickly, Julio Jones. He went early. Not the best season. Is it kind of biting some owners?
It's just an up and down season. That 4-point fantasy game that he had is an aberration. Throw that out, move forward with him in your lineup every week, and you'll be rewarded.
Yeah, that's all. I was just, quickly. Another guy, Kelly, seems we mention him every week since we've had Farrell on, it seems like. Ryan Matthews. I mean, what's this week update?
Well, this week's update is he's finally worked his way into the favor situation. Jackie Battle is no longer first on this depth chart. Guys sometimes look for too much information. Let's take it down to basics. Ryan Matthews, as we talked about, is one of the most productive running backs as far as talent, as far as projections that comes in the league in a while. Now guys called me up and said, well, he only did it at Fresno State. Well, that really doesn't matter. He has the athletic skills to make the difference as a running back, and that's what we're going to see the rest of the year. The other running backs on that team, Battle's a good back. Ronnie Brown, interestingly enough, we've spoken about Brown there a couple times, Tyler, and I've determined that for some reason Coach Turner thinks that Ronnie Brown's a better third down back than Ryan Matthews, and if that
I agree
stays that way, we're going to look at a situation where Ronnie Brown could be an emergency start from time to time. 12.8 fantasy points last week. Watch the game closely, but you can't count on having Ronnie Brown or Jackie Battle in your lineup. It's got to be Ryan Matthews.
Yeah, I actually look at that because I have both Jackie Battle and Ronnie Brown on my bench for emergency start. So, it's something I definitely look into.
You've got him. That's good. Keep him on the bench because Matthews, one thing that he has been, with all those other accolades that I just laid on him, one thing he has been is injury prone. Mm-hmm. So keep those guys at the ready.
Farrell, arguably the most exciting game, not necessarily just for fantasy, would be tonight when Green Bay goes to Houston to play the undefeated Texans, who are just coming off. They lost their arguably their best player, Brian Cushing, on the defensive side. What are the fantasy implications of this game tonight?
It's an interesting matchup, and that's one. Unfortunately, I've got to travel tonight, so I'm going to miss it. But it's all over. On the Houston side, you'll get exactly what you expect from Foster. Let's look at the big question mark on Houston's side is Andre Johnson. Now they're playing a team that's likely going to put up some points. So you can't continue just to hand the ball to Foster. You're going to have to match Green Bay on the scoreboard. So look for Andre Johnson to awaken and have a very big night. Guys, I saw on the Green Bay side, I saw probably the worst, most disappointing quote from a player when Jermichael Finley said that he is not having chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. Well, I got news, Jermichael. You better break out your chemistry set and come up with some sort of potion because Aaron Rodgers is not going anywhere, and you better have some chemistry with your quarterback. That was a very disturbing thing to see for anyone that has Jermichael Finley on their roster, and now he's banged up a little bit. So expect more from all your receivers with Jennings still banged up. Cobb is an interesting fit in the lineup. You got to continue with James Jones.
Yes.
And now we have a rookie running back, which everyone went on the waiver wire and spent their fantasy dollars to acquire. Anyone who has him in their lineup now has a fantasy dollar balance of close to nil, and that's Alex Green. Let's see how that situation plays out. Everybody says it's Alex Green. It might be James Starks. There's another running back named Sane on the roster. It may come down to a running back by committee. So a lot of fantasy things there tonight.
Yeah, if Jermichael Finley is having chemistry issues with arguably the most prolific passer in the league, I don't know what to tell you, Jermichael. I mean, I don't know where you're going to find a more accommodating quarterback to play for. So, I mean, I don't know what the deal is there with him. So certainly a big game tonight as the Super Bowl winners from a couple years ago, the Packers, are taking on the still undefeated Texans.
Last thing I wanted to get to before we get to this break is there anybody that it could be out for this week? Some late injuries.
Oh, you've got to sit on the edge of your seat. Lock up that time between 12:45 and 1 o'clock. So many difficult game time decisions. Pierre Garçon is probably the number one that comes to mind. And here's a player that you're really counting on. He was a fifth or sixth round draft pick for you. So that's a significant receiver that you've got to have up. If he doesn't go, Leonard Hankerson still has value as a flex player. Move out to Seattle, where the always mysterious New England Patriots are playing. Anyone that has Aaron Hernandez drafted him early, and they're begging to put him back in their lineups. That's a game-time decision for a later game. We're dealing with Hernandez, if he does play, being limited. And then we've also got the aspect they may have some serious weather at game time, too, which is something that starts showing up in mid-October, and it'll first show up in Seattle.
Yeah,
not unexpected.
I know a guy that everybody was freaking out probably about over the week is RG3. He seems to be in the lineup. Another guy that is going to probably be out, Andre Brown. So obviously the pickup guys who had to picking up the backup for the Giants last week, still looking at sticking with him. But so yeah, like Farrell said, you just need to sit on your couch and right in front of that computer for 15 minutes leading up to 1 o'clock so you can update your lineup. But Farrell, as always, my man, I hope your teams are doing well, and good luck today. We'll be talking to you next Sunday.
You guys do the same and keep those winning players in your lineup, including Andrew Hawkins.
There you go. Farrell Elliott, KFFSC Commissioner. Appreciate it. As always, it's my favorite segment every weekend, talking fantasy with Farrell. We honestly could just totally not talk fantasy with Farrell if we needed to. We just go off topic. Reds. He loves Reds. He loves all sports. So I know you're a big fan too.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Farrell. I mean, he's got one of the best memories out of anybody that we've
Oh my
had.
God, he either writes it down or he's got the best memory ever. He remembers the first word we said to him, I bet.
As we mentioned, guys, the first show we had,
the
I
first
remember
show.
Tyler said so-and-so, and I don't know, did you guys, what was he, did you confuse or mention Artrell when you meant to say Andrew?
I meant to say Andrew because we were having Artrell on the same show, and I said we were having Artrell on. And I actually said, we were talking. I just got mixed up. It's okay.
It is okay. I know that a little off topic, but man, Artrell, what a great guest. Montrell Jones is just bringing in.
It kept breaking off the phone. We're going to get him on again this week.
Is good.
He was having some bad reception. What we did get through was good. Like you said earlier, smooth talker.
He just got the smoothest.
Ladies, man. Him and Montrell, the Montrell Jones power hour with those two would be ridiculously awesome.
I think I've heard him describe himself as the Black Brad Pitt.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I thought he was a football player when I met him. He's jacked. He is in shape.
Player, yeah.
He's a news anchor.
I know, but he was a football player.
I know, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
He looks like he fit the mold of a Bengal.
So he still plays in.
Exactly.
Takes his fitness.
Let's
very
take some
serious.
calls now here in this remaining of the show. 384-1450. We're going to get into Louisville, Kentucky now. We got through the guest. It's a great guest. Thanks, Dave, Farrell, Mo Egger. Thanks to all the guys. But let's talk about what you have been wanting to talk about. I know Louisville football, Louisville scrimmage. So we'll go to our break. We'll come back and do this. 384-1450. Tyler Boyd, Kelly Patrick. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.
You're listening to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Call in on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Back here with the video game hour on the Weekend Sports Buzz. I really do love those intros. It's pretty solid. That's our Adam, the intern, getting us in here. All the rejoins, we appreciate that. And, of course, this segment's brought to you by... Oh, we already did that one. Almost read the courtesy of Franklin Marcy. This one is brought to you by Jamie Cox of Keller Williams, Louisville East. We met him at the KFFSC. Good guy. I've seen his little signs all around town. Jamie Cox. If you're playing fantasy football, it's all about that winning strategy. For the winning strategy, when you buy or sell a home, allow Jamie Cox of Keller Williams, Louisville East, to put together a winning game plan for you. With interest rates near an all-time low, there has never been a better time to buy or upgrade. For personal attention, effective marketing, and results, contact Jamie Cox, 502-593-5454, or email him directly, Jamie at thederbycityrealtor.com. One of the well-known around the area here, Jamie Cox, appreciate you helping us out here at 1450 and KentuckySports.co, getting us in the KFFSC.com draft.
Good stuff.
Getting into it. Let's talk Louisville, Kelly. Let's talk about your Cardinals. The football game. I'm assuming you paid attention, right there on your couch, right? 11 o'clock kickoff, nothing else to do.
Yeah,
what'd you
I
think?
actually watched it at in Pelizeri's, so I was ready to go right over to the Yum Center for the red-white scrimmage.
That's right.
So I had a good time watching it with the family, a couple buddies. Yeah, I mean, I was nervous in the first half. Louisville put it together, though. I mean, I was very impressed with offense. Offensively, I was impressed with Teddy Bridgewater's ability to just throw a deep ball to Devontae Parker when necessary, and it seemed almost effortlessly. I mean,
304 passing yards for your boy Teddy. Not a bad game.
No, not a bad game at all. Devontae Parker also kind of had a little bit of a coming out party. He hasn't done as much this year as we would maybe hope, but 4 receptions, 153 yards, and 1 touchdown. His touchdown came on a 75-yard bomb.
Yeah, it was what I noticed was the DB couldn't catch him.
Yeah, it almost looked like
fast.
It was kind of funny. It almost looked like the DB didn't want to tackle him.
He didn't even dive to try to smack shoelace tackle. He just ran.
It looked like he was keeping pace right behind him.
Just like
he
I'm
was just trying to jog with him.
I'm just gonna hang
He didn't
out.
want anything to do with Devontae.
It was very
Devontae's
odd.
a big guy, and he's added some muscle. And along with him and Andrell Smith, they've got some good big receivers, complemented by a guy like Eli Rogers with the ultimate speed out there.
Here's what Devontae actually said. They quit after the game. On the play, Teddy just threw it up and I got it. Then, and then also on why they threw it deep. Well, it is football, but he didn't say that. That's not fun. Here's what Devontae. They were playing man. We knew we could beat that, and just had to make a big play, and we did. So obviously that was in my opinion, the play that opened it up for you guys in that in the game. It was a slow. We mentioned earlier, not a slow start, a tired start on defense. I would assume for both the squads. Quick scores, a block punt for a touchdown on for Pittsburgh, but then it hit halftime and it's like the Gatorade kicked in for Louisville.
Yeah, their defense still didn't necessarily do what I wanted in the second half, but they had some timely stops, and they really came and showed up.
21-0 third quarter. The third quarter for Louisville all season, if I'm recollecting correctly, has been very, very dominant, which is good. Coming out of the locker room hot, you can't be disappointed with that. But the fourth quarter, it's a whole other world. They lost again in the fourth quarter, 14-7. They got that touchdown to put them up, 14. Then Pitt came down quickly, drove 45-35. But the defense, we talked about it yesterday. I talked to Rashawn, I talked to Nick. Are you worried about this defense moving on? Your final 5-6 games. Mm-hmm. Are you worried?
6 more games.
6 more games.
Yeah, I am worried about the defense going forward. There'll be some tough games, even though you may not think they're too tough.
Cincinnati's a tough game. I'm going to tell you.
Cincinnati
and Rutgers.
At Rutgers. That's what I mean.
Rutgers has a way better defense than Louisville.
And I'm also very concerned. Even if we drop those 2 games, we go 10-2.
It's still a good season.
It's still a very good season. I'll be very happy. I mean, heck, we went 7-6 last year.
I think 10's your cutoff line, though. I'm sorry, I do. I think 9 is 9 is not a bust. I can't say bust. That's too far of a word. 9 is it's a little of a dang it.
Yeah, if we only win 3 out of our last 6 games, that would be from this point forward disappointing. Overall, 9-3 after a season last year. We went regular season, 6-6. You can't really complain too much, but I agree with you. Going forward, I expect us to maybe lose 2 games. I would expect maybe the Cincinnati, maybe at Rutgers. But, I mean, this was a tough game. I know Pittsburgh isn't the best team, but it was on the road, hostile environment. I mean, that was a good win yesterday.
It was definitely a good win for you guys. 49,000 fans. I think we got a guy who wants to talk a little bit about this on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline. One of my favorites, Brian, the Insider. Good morning.
Good morning, Tyler and Kelly. How are you gentlemen this morning?
We couldn't be better. We're both, getting primed for a good fall, spring sports season.
Well, I love the show. I love listening to Farrell this morning. I picked up on a fantasy note. I picked up Artrell Hawkins after the first week. I'm a Bengals fan. I saw how active he was in the offense, and he's been a nice fantasy selection for me. And I didn't get a chance to hear him on the radio, but. Hey, I wanted to talk about the Cardinals. I got 2 Cardinals that I want to.
Cut you off, Brian, but it's. Do you remember when you called me out about that horse name that actually wasn't a horse?
Oh, yeah, all others.
I will go ahead and turn it back on you. His name's Andrew Hawkins. I did the same as slip up over the week.
Oh, Art Charlton's brother, right?
Yep, his older brother.
Well, Hawkins. I should have just went with Hawkins.
I've been waiting to get you back for months.
Well, I tell you, that was a slip up there, but boy, I don't know if we're even after swept all over.
Go ahead with your previous comment, Brian.
Two Cardinals. I came in. My wife and I are on our way back to Ohio. Spent the weekend in our favorite town, Louisville, listening to you guys on our iPhone app. We love it. But went to watched the football game, and the guy that of course, I love Teddy and a lot of guys on the team, but I am just so high on Perry, number 32. I wish he got 15, 20 touches. I know Farrell was talking about McFadden getting a lot of touches. I can't imagine what would happen if Perry got the ball 25 or 30 times, because I think he is a Sunday running back. And then I went to the scrimmage last night, and there were quite a few guys I was very impressed with, Shane and Gorky and Peyton, like always. But, man, was I impressed with Harrell, number 24 for the Cardinals. If this guy is a true freshman, my goodness, he is well beyond his years in experience and overall. I mean, this guy, what a motor on him, and man, he is going to get significant minutes for the Cardinals, and I was very impressed with his ability and attitude and length, and man, he is. Cardinal fans that have not seen him are going to be very, very surprised. Anyone get a chance to see him over the weekend, guys?
Yeah, I watched the red-white scrimmage also, and I got to agree with you. I don't know what the situation is across the nation, but if there's a better front court, I said this about the back court too, but if there's a better front court out there than Shane, Gorky, and now, like you said, Montrell Harrell, I mean, I don't know who it is. I think that those three, you got to say, are going to be a dominant front court this season.
Oh, I know. And I know Coach Cowell is talking about experimenting with his twin towers, and Harrell and Shane and Gorky are nowhere near that tall, but I don't think it's going to happen, but I think we'll see times when Shane and Harrell are on the floor together. Wayne looks fine. I think he's still rounded into shape. I was disappointed with the shooting overall. I know it's early, and this is the Cardinals play so hard in those scrimmages, and they take that to the floor, that they play so hard. But I was disappointed with the perimeter shooting yesterday. Wayne and Angel, two nice shooters, really never did find their. I don't know that I saw. I think Russ might have hit a three and might have had threes, but fairly poor perimeter shooting, and I wasn't overly impressed with Wayne. I know he'll come around and he'll be a great Cardinal, but I think the talk of Wayne being the one and done this year, I know very preliminary off one scrimmage, but boy, I don't see that happening. But I really was impressed with Harrell. Shane, I'm sorry, I've been meaning to say Wayne. Wayne Blackshear, I was not very impressed with yesterday. Shane looked fantastic, and he's got a lot of energy, but very impressed with Harrell. But kind of a slow period, guys, in horse racing. Keeneland's having another great meet. They ran the Queen Elizabeth Stakes over the weekend, and a couple more weeks of Keeneland racing. But all eyes are on the Breeders' Cup, November 2nd and 3rd at Santa Anita, and until that comes, boy, it'll be kind of quiet because most of the horses had their prep races. But I look forward to spending some time with you guys in the week leading up to the Breeders' Cup and giving you a full report on those very important races.
Oh, yeah, certainly, Brian. We're definitely going to get you on there. And as always, we appreciate your call. And I know you listen in right on the iPhone and the Android app, so we appreciate that as well.
Keep up the great work, guys. I love your show. Kelly, I really enjoyed hearing you on Friday with, is it Handsome Jimmy?
Handsome Jimmy, and I got to say, he is handsome.
You know, I got a chance to, a friend of mine pointed out Handsome Jimmy to me at the red-white scrimmage, and I no question why they call him Handsome Jimmy. I got a view of him, and, I am 100% heterosexual, but that's a handsome man there.
You make a good point, Brian. We appreciate it. Have a good rest of your Sunday.
You too, guys.
That's good stuff. He is very, very, very handsome. Are you crazy? What's his...
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? I loved your all show.
Handsome is good. That was a lot of fun. I got to say,
I want to hit on his points there a little bit. You know, he mentioned the Hannon, Montrez Harrell combo towers, and then he hit on the Kentucky combo of maybe Cauley-Stein, and Nerlens. It will happen. And I will tell you this, Kelly. You will see the combination of not just those two, Wiltshire in the lineup as well. You will see that happen. Why? Cauley-Stein can play the 3. At times,
Really?
he can run the court like a small forward.
Wow.
7-foot athletic guy. He played football. He's averaging like 3 touchdowns a game.
Wow.
He's very athletic.
Maybe a little
call
underrated.
me crazy. Very underrated. I was one of the bigger recruiting guys. It may have been Dave Tellup or Paul Biancardi. One of the two said Kansas. He's where he's from. Is going to be very, very mad they didn't recruit this kid because, in my honest opinion, Kelly, he might be the better one of the Nerlens. When it's all said and done.
Wow.
When it's all said and done. Maybe not today.
Maybe they'll complement each other well.
I think they will very complement well. He actually dunked on Nerlens. But,
Wow.
the football game, he made, like you said, Snorris Perry. Is he turning out, Kelly, to be one of your favorite Cardinals on this squad?
You got to love him. I mean, he looks like, I got to agree with Brian. He's got the shiftiness. He looks like he'll play on Sundays. He can catch the ball. I think he only caught the ball maybe once or twice yesterday. But, I mean, he is as good as it gets, really. I mean, no wonder the coaching staff doesn't seem to be rushing Dominique Brown back because Snorris Perry is obviously, big and strong and athletic. And, I mean, just look at his numbers from yesterday. 12 rushes, 101 yards, 4 touchdowns. He went crazy on the 59-yard touchdown run. And all the while, Jeremy Wright did good, too. He carried the ball 13 times for 61 yards and a touchdown. But, I mean, Snorris Perry averaged 8.4 yards a carry yesterday, and he looked great. The offense, it's kind of reversed from what I was expecting going into the season. I was thinking the defense would really shine, and the Charlie Strong defense would come kind of, from what we expected to be great, maybe an SEC-type defense. Mm-hmm. The offense really seems to be the strength of this team.
Yeah, it's definitely your offense. I know we are up against a break, and we need to call our man Kenny from Knob Creek Gun Range. It's the last day of their machine gun shoot, one of the world's largest machine gun shoot. I know you talked to him a little bit on Friday. I talked to him yesterday. I'm more of the gun guy of us two, without a doubt. You've witnessed that in person.
Yeah.
We don't need to go back, Kelly.
Okay.
We don't need to recollect that one. So let's get to this break, Adam, and we'll come back, talk Kenny, and we'll finish up with a little red-white scrimmage and Big Blue Mantis talk. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.
Now back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Myself, Kelly Patrick, Tyler Bloyd, here to talk a little bit about the red-white scrimmage, also some maybe Midnight Madness that Tyler attended on.
Yeah.
On
First
Friday.
off, we got to mention what's going on this weekend, and it ends today. My man Kenny from Knob Creek Gun Range. We were just trying to get him on the line. He's out of the building. He's decided to step out of the gun range, and we were going to have him on to talk about it, but since not, let's break it down. We both got to speak to him on Friday and Saturday. We know what's going on. We've been advertising it, and Nick Coffey, the spot on the commercials all week long. Knob Creek Gun Range. That would be at 690 Ritchie Lane, West Point, Kentucky. Today, it's been going on Friday, Saturday, but today is the last day. It's the world's largest machine gun shoot. If you have never shot a machine gun, Kelly, I know you have not. You and Hanson talked about that. You could actually get out there and do so. You can, however many shells, how many bullets, how many rounds, however you call it, however many you want to put down range, you can do so. There's various vendors out there with up to 52 machine guns of your choice. They're all different, very nice guns. My roommates were out there yesterday, said it was great, packed event. It's only around 10 to get in. Like I said, at 690 Ritchie Lane, West Point, Kentucky, the world's largest machine gun shoot. At the night, they have the night shoots, Kelly. That's something you might want to go out, just to witness one night, being a manly man you are. It's you know what a tracer is?
I don't, but I will comment. I am a very manly man.
You're a very manly man. The night shoot, it's they have tracers. That's bullets that basically are basically lit up. You can see them going down range till they hit the target. It's awesome. Then they have giant explosions. You can go out there and shoot refrigerators, cars, propane tanks, fake people, zombies.
Fake people?
Yeah, fake people, zombies. Yeah, they got everything set up down at the lower range. Everything you ask for, Knob Creek Gun Range, you can get it done.
Just set up fake people in like a
You bring a mannequin. No, you can bring stuff. Like you can, even if you wanted to go on during the week when they're open, get your little crew out there, set up. They'll give you a little private range. You can bring your own little fun stuff to shoot.
Sounds
if you
like
got
fun.
a bunch of naked mannequins, set them up. Put it through the heart. It's great. Ritchie Lane, West Point, Kentucky, 690 Ritchie Lane, Knob Creek Gun Range. Get out there for the final day of the world's largest machine gun shoot. We appreciate them, being a little part of 1450 as well. Kelly, we need to get you behind a machine gun.
I'd like to shoot a machine gun.
I have a few machine guns at my house.
Do you seriously?
Yes, we have a few machine guns, various kinds. We have an AK. We might have a few other weapons. I'm not going to say so. They don't come hawking for us, but we'll get you behind one of those and let you know the power behind it. I know Handsome Jimmy. He was wondering about the kick.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. There's a few, yeah. If your Rambo gun, Kelly, that you mentioned,
yeah.
If you let into that trigger, you're gonna. But the normal pump action, rifles, little machine gun, you can control it. It's fun.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. Do it.
Knob Creek Gun Range, October 12th, 13th, and then the 14th today. The competitions include assault rifle, old military bolt action rifle, practical pistol, KCR National Subgun, Jungle Walk, and Assault Shotgun.
Yeah.
So go check it out. Today's the last day, right?
Yeah, last day. So get out there early because it's packed. It's even packed on a Sunday. It really is.
Call them at 502-922-4457.
Yeah, they'll give you some information. Friendly people out there. I've been out there a lot. I'm a redneck at heart. 384-1450 in our final 10, 12 minutes or so if you all want to get in. If you also want to see something crazy going on TV right now, Felix Baumgartner, Kelly. He's a Red Bull guy, one of those crazy Red Bull, drink your Red Bull, grow wings, big balls type of people. And he's actually jumping from skydiving from the edge of space. He's going to be going 700. That is 700 miles an hour, free falling.
As the Andy Furman and Archel Hawkins show says, he's got the big hanging down things, is what they like to say. They constantly refer to the big hanging down things.
As Major League Baseball, you got marbles.
Okay.
So he's got some big ones.
This guy is jumping from space.
Basically space.
Would you do that?
If I got paid enough, which I'm assuming he is, yes, I would jump from space.
Okay.
I would do a lot of money for a lot of stuff. For a good chunk of cash, which I'm assuming he is getting, especially from Red Bull. So go find that. I don't know exactly what channel it's on. I'm sure you can get it. It's definitely online, Red Bull. But that's just what's going on there. We have obviously NFL 1 o'clock. Getting kicked off every Sunday. That's nothing else. But what went on last night, Kelly? Obviously your Cardinals 6-0, but your red-white scrimmage. You were out there. Mm-hmm. We've talked a little bit about it. We've talked a lot about it, but now that I think about it, we've had a lot of good calls talking about it with Handsome and, Brian Insider. But, what was Rick Pitino like? I want to know, what was Rick Pitino like out there?
He made some funny comments about, Angel and Russ. You guys need to practice passing. You don't need to keep shooting. A couple times it was funny. Russ actually didn't seem to get as big of a kick out of it because he had his game face on. He was out there to play, and Rick would come over the loudspeaker and say, "You need to pass, Russ." And Russ.
So was Rick mic'd up?
He was mic'd
That's
up. Cool. He wasn't milking it as much as I told my buddies, as much as I would. I would
love to see you be the coach.
I would just be out there going.
Would you scream?
I wouldn't scream, but I'd be making some sarcastic comments.
I would. I know. I already know. If when I coach my kids' little league team, I'm gonna be like I might let a few. I'm that type.
Wow. Well, I'm
not going to Bobby Knight anybody. I can tell you that.
He wasn't happy a couple times. It's funny because Russ still always, Russ is, 1-on-3 on a fast break, and sure enough, it looks like he's going to hesitate and maybe pull it back around, to set up the offense. But no, sure enough, Russ stops and ends up taking a probably pretty high percentage shot. Doesn't always go in, but it's still funny. It's the same old Russ. He looks maybe a little bit bulkier.
A little thicker.
Mm-hmm. But I expect a big season out of Russ. He's not going to start, but he still likes to shoot. I can see him fitting into the offense a little more, but I really like the depth we have.
Yeah, I know you were there. You were there kind of tending with your family, getting out there, a little family day. John Hancock, though, he was out there for, the website, KentuckySports.co and 1450 to Sports Buzz, getting good coverage. So if you want to check out, the post-game interviews with Peyton Siva, Ken Ware, Coach Pitino, Gorgie Zhang, Montrezl Harrell, get on KentuckySports.co now. All of those are right there on the website, as well as Big Blue Madness. I was there Friday night with my man Brad Steen. We've got plenty of video, plenty of pictures right there on the website from Big Blue Madness, which was a great night. That was Friday. We talked about that yesterday. It was fun. Wawa Jones, Kelly. Wawa Jones came out. Cal brought out some champions from the former guys from the former championship team, and I promise you, Wawa Jones, that was the moment of the night. Just him stepping out. You could he stepped out. He had some help. He's old. You know this. He's older. He comes out and you just see a smile go from one ear to the other. I mean, that's something in the 50s you didn't get much. You didn't get 24,000 standing. I know Rupp's old. I know this, but you don't get the crazy 2012 fans then. Mm-hmm. Something that I just really, I'm glad I was a part of there. Anything like that happen at Louisville? Was there any, I know you said before the event there was some, some fun, good maybe intros and et cetera. What was a little bit about it? Other than the scrimmage.
Yeah, they acknowledged Reese Gaines in the stands. That was kind of nice. He looked happy. He looked great.
He looked like he could still play.
He did. Yeah, he's not too far off from his playing days. It was funny how he described how he got into coaching. He said that he was kind of done with his playing career, and he went to Rick and kind of said, "I don't know what I'm going to do, Rick. What do you think?" And Rick said, "How about you try assistant coaching?" And it didn't sound like Reese was necessarily hell-bent on coaching, but he took Rick's advice. He went to it. Now he's I'm sure, going to be a great assistant for Scotty Davenport. He could probably suit up and play with those guys, in practice, which is valuable. I know Walter McCarty did that for Louisville for a while. So, I mean, it's nice to have guys like that around town, especially involved, with
That's one thing I've noticed, Kelly, with Louisville and Kentucky. The guys come back. I know during the Billy Clyde era, we didn't have one player return ever, and nobody wanted to. He just didn't involve. He didn't involve himself. But Calipari, being the political genius he is, he knows what to do. He's constantly got people, all these older teams, guys to come back. Goose Givens was there, Kelly.
Wow.
The crowd erupted with the Bruce. Well, we got the Goose.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. And the same with Louisville. You got your Dr. Duncanstein just right here in town. You got your Reese Gaines right here in town. You got all the local guys. They love coming back to these two universities. I'm not a Louisville fan, but I was thinking to myself yesterday, how lucky are you? How lucky am I? How lucky is Big Blue Nation, Card Nation to be a fan of who we are? Think about it.
If you love basketball, that's where it's at.
I'm not talking basketball. I'm talking sports.
Okay.
Think about it. We don't. Other schools we're percentage of schools that get to win like our programs do for the most part.
Yeah.
Get to be involved in what stuff we do. I mean, if you're a fan of, for example, Southern Florida, good college, big college, a lot of students. I mean, they're never
doesn't have near the tradition of
no tradition, program. No hype. You're not there on TV every day. We hate each other as fans when it comes to the seasons, but we are the two luckiest fan bases, in my honest opinion. We love our teams, and we get the best sports right here in the Commonwealth. That's why we need an NBA team.
That's why we need the NBA team.
We love our sports. Number one rating for the Ryder Cup in Chicago was right here in Louisville, right here in the state of Kentucky.
Wow.
TV rating. We love sports.
It's a great sports market. I agree with you, especially collegiate sports.
Carolina Steve, a guy who knows a lot about all sports, right there on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline. Carolina, good morning.
Good morning. Y'all talking about Montrezl Harrell. What else do you think an athlete from northeastern North Carolina would be like?
I knew that was exactly where that was going to lead into. Yeah, Kelly, I'll let you speak on Montrez.
Yeah, I mean, he looks. I was trying to think of somebody to compare him to. I don't know, maybe Al Horford. That may be a little bit of a stretch.
What you said.
But I mean, he looks to me like he's about 6'9", maybe just 6'8", a legit 6'8". But I mean, he is big. He's got big, long arms, huge hands, and he can just move well. He loves dunking and grabbing rebounds, and he's just real active. I really liked Montrezl Harrell there, Carolina. He looks great. Thanks for giving him to us from Carolina.
Well, the thing about it, you talk about that. If you're saying that, well, then he would remind me of another basketball player from Eastern North Carolina, a guy by the name of Buck Williams.
Yeah. It's a good comparison. I do like that. I actually know who you're talking about, surprisingly. But that's
played in the NBA for a long time.
Very good comparison. I like that call.
I know that Rashawn Myers actually compared him to the X-Man, Xavier McDaniels.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one. When he comes from an area in the Carolinas that is loaded with athletes, probably some of the best I've ever seen. The Gurley guy that is the running back for the University of Georgia, he was a senior last year at Tarboro Senior High School. Also, they had probably one of the best that I've ever seen besides Carl Pickens in high school, a guy by the name of Kelvin Bryant, who ran track, played baseball, basketball, and football at Tarboro, was in the running until he got hurt at Carolina for the Heisman Trophy, played with the Washington Redskins. But in high school, he was the only person who could stay with Dominique Wilkins on the basketball court in that conference.
Everybody knows that name, Dominique Wilkins. Carolina, we're coming up top of the hour here at the end of the show. I
Okay,
wanted to ask.
y'all
Hey, Carolina, hold on. Hold on,
year.
Carolina, hold on. Clint Boyer, he won the race last night, right?
Yeah, I got my $5 energy hat sitting over there and everything, and it was. I tell you what, I do not like the way NASCAR is becoming, where where it's almost like you got to be a fuel economy race and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see them run flat out, not run about 3/4 speed around the track. You can't have mandatory pit stops in the last 20 laps or anything, but they just got to work where they can get them cars to get better gas mileage and everything. And it's hurt my man Kyle Busch a lot this year.
Yes, it is. Definitely true.
And you know that this is the first time, I forget they said there hasn't been an Earnhardt in the race.
I think that's right. Obviously, he's out for the 2 races with his concussions, checking up on his health, which he's happened to him before. I'm very disappointed at that because he was a chance to win this thing. I would have loved for that to happen. But as always, Carolina, I'm sure we'll be talking to you over the week and then, of course, next weekend.
Yeah, well, next weekend, is South Florida, and Skip's coming to town.
Yep, I knew that, Kelly. I know Carolina will be a big part of 1450 this week with that one.
Have a good one.
Thank you very much, Carolina. Real quick, before we end the show today, I know that we got the next Louisville Cardinals red-white scrimmage is next Sunday.
Another one?
October 21st, 4 o'clock p.m.
Get your helmets out.
And then the following Saturday, the 27th at 2 p.m. is the
Bellarmine
the
scrimmage?
third of the three.
Three red-white scrimmages?
Yep,
I didn't know that.
That's how they do it at Louisville, is they practice hard and they do it a lot.
Well, on that note, Kentucky's Big Blue, the blue-white scrimmage is October 24th coming up, and I know both teams having their actual scrimmages. Louisville taking on Bellarmine will be coming up very, very soon. Kelly, it's been a fun show. Thanks to Dave from Vite Magazine. Thanks to Mo Egger, 1530 ESPN. All the callers, everything. It's been a fun show. It really has been.
Good show. Yeah, definitely. Have a great week, everybody.
Coming up next, those weekend golf guys, John Ashton and his crew. He's looking to talk about his defending championship of a scramble. He's going to try to do that tomorrow morning. So stick with weekends. Stick with 1450 to Sports Buzz. We'll be talking to you all next weekend. For Kelly Patrick, I'm Tyler Boyd.